Hi, everybody. I'm Pierre Bouvard, Chief Insights Officer here at the Audio Active Group at Cumulus Media in Westwood One. And why is it that the combination of digital advertising and radio advertising is so powerful and generates such impressive impact for advertisers?
Gordon Burrell is the media researcher, forecaster, and digital guru that many decades ago predicted the fact that digital would become a major platform for local advertisers and has really helped a lot of advertisers and media owners understand how media works well together. Recently, Burrell found that in his surveys of advertisers, radio salespeople were identified as some of the best marketing consultants by local advertisers. And so today we're going to explore why is it that AM/FM radio and digital work so well together. Now, a number of major industry organizations over the last couple of years have conducted significant studies that explain how adding media platforms generates stronger sales effect. In addition, the reason why the sales effect occurs is because reach is growing. The Advertising Research Foundation, as the name implies, is one of the leading organizations in the US that studies marketing effectiveness. And they put out a study, a monumental study called How Advertising Works. And it examined 5,000 advertising campaigns, 12 years of data, $375 billion worth of campaigns, 40 countries across 100 categories. And one of their major conclusions is that as you add media platforms, return on advertising spend, or ROI, goes up. So if you're only using one media platform and then you add a second, ROI goes up 19%. And then to 23% if you add 3 platforms, and then 31%, and then 35% increase in ROI by adding 5 platforms. And then here comes the World Advertising Research Center. And their study examined 500 campaigns that were award entrants to effectiveness competitions. There were 3,600 case studies from the WARC, World Advertising Research Center database, over 1,000 case studies from the Cannes Creative Effectiveness Lions Award competition, and over 200 case studies from the IPA, the Institute for the Practitioners of Advertising. And that study said that as the number of advertising channels are used goes up, so does effectiveness. So if you're starting with a base of 1 to 4 media platforms, and then you move to 5 to 7, effectiveness goes up 10%. And then as you go to 8 to 10 platforms, it goes up to 13%. And once you get over 11 platforms, effectiveness goes up 30%. So why is this occurring? It has to do with reach, the number of different unique people that your campaign measures. Nielsen conducted a gigantic series of sales effect studies, over 500 different brands across a variety of categories, all with cross-platform campaigns. And the goal was to understand the drivers of sales effect. So what are the elements and how much are they responsible for driving sales effect? So first and foremost, the quality of your creative represents almost half of your sales effect. The number one media element on this page is reach. 22% of sales lift is due to reach. And look down there at targeting. Reach trumps targeting 2.5 to 1. 22% to 9%. No wonder why Erwin Efron, the father of modern media planning, said it is better to remind the many than lecture the few. So what about radio and digital, and why is it that they work so well together? Well, Nielsen Scarborough took a look at the heaviest users of TV, digital, and radio. They took the top 20% of the users that usually represent about 50% of the time spent. And what they found was that the heavy radio and the heavy digital, that audience looks very similar. Similar incomes. They're both full-time employed. They have kids in the house. They're big on social media. Now, there are some differences. The heavy digital users are about 10 years younger, but there's a lot in common with the heavy radio listener and the heavy digital user. Now, to the right of your screen, take a look at the heavy TV viewers. They are completely different, much older, retired, empty nesters, kids are gone, not as big on social media. And look at that age demographic. 71% of the audience is over the age of 55. So TV is what's playing in God's waiting room. And so on this page, you really see why radio and digital work so well together, because it's a very similar audience. And when you put them together, you get a very, very effective media plan. So now let's look at a couple scenarios. So let's take a look at what happens when you have a radio advertiser who now wants to add digital platforms onto that core radio buy. So the price of the add-ons for digital in this scenario is about 20% increase to bring in the digital solutions, in this case, online video and social. We're looking across 4 different advertisers: light, medium, heavy, very heavy radio advertisers. And the Nielsen ComsPoint, which is a optimization and planning platform from Nielsen, said, let's price the add-ons for digital at 20% of whatever the radio budget was. So it varies across the page. And you can see in the case of the medium and the heavy and the very heavy, there's a very nice increase in reach, 17% to 20%. A little bit less of an increase in reach for the light radio advertiser, but nice reach increase overall. And when you look at the reach increase by demographic, it's a very nice distribution. When you take that core radio buy and you bring in digital, you see upticks in reach across all the age cells. But take a look all the way to the left of your screen, adults 18-24, a 50% increase in reach there. So that's what happens when you take a core radio client and you bring digital on top. You get nice increase in reach. Now, let's look at the opposite. Let's take a look at marketers who are digital only. And now we're going to bring in a radio into the plan, and we'll price it at 20% of whatever the digital budget is. Like before, 3 scenarios: light, medium, and heavy. This time we're using Nielsen's other planning platform, NMI, Nielsen Media Impact. But we see a different story here. When you bring radio into a digital plan, the reach goes up big time. The heavy advertiser, that's a heavy digital advertiser, adds radio in. The reach goes 63 to 80%, a 27% increase in reach. The medium digital advertiser, with the addition of radio, a 38% increase in reach. And look at what happens to the small digital advertiser when they bring radio into the mix. A 94% increase in reach, almost double. As you look across the age cells, significant increases in all the age cells. You do see, with the addition of radio, you do see higher lifts with 35-44, 45-54, 55-64. That happens to be where all the money is in America. So a big increase in reach there. Now let's take a look at another scenario. Here is where we have kind of a classic media buy: TV, digital, connected TV, no radio. And so the question is, what happens when you take this connected TV, and digital buy, and then you reallocate budget? You don't increase budget, you just create a 10% allocation, a very modest allocation for AM/FM radio. So let's first look at the base buy. It's 68% of the money is in TV, 13% connected TV, 20% digital. Put that together, you get a 57 reach. That's a pretty decent reach. Now we're going to reallocate and create a 10% allocation for AM/FM radio, no budget increase, Oh my gosh, what happens to the reach? It goes from 57% to 80%, a 41% increase in reach. So there is no doubt that radio is the reach accelerator for any media plan. You put a bit of radio in, this is just a 10% allocation, the reach absolutely explodes. So the key takeaways here, reach is the foundation of marketing effectiveness. As you add platforms, you grow reach, you grow sales effect, and as you add media platforms, the greater the business outcomes. We saw taking an existing AM/FM radio campaign and bringing in an allocation of digital at priced at about 20% of the radio campaign. Nice increase in reach across all demographics. Looking at the other scenario, a digital advertiser who brings in radio at a 20% budget lift, big increase in reach, especially for that small digital advertiser. And lastly, when we took a look at a TV, connected TV digital buy, we didn't increase the budget. We just carved out a 10% allocation for radio. The reach went through the roof. So some great evidence about how increasing media platforms and bringing radio into the plan really elevates the media plan. The Audio Active Group here at Cumulus Media in Westwood One is a full service advisory for national brands, offering media planning recommendations, creative best practices, and measurement of the entire audio campaign. Every week, we publish a new audio case study or insight. You can find it at cumulusmedia.com or westwood1.com, and when you're there, you can sign up to get a free email every week with the audio case study and the audio insights. Thanks so much for the opportunity to take you through some new Nielsen data on how increasing media platforms and bringing radio and TV and digital together creates spectacular outcomes. Thanks so much.